Well. Mr. Marcus decides to come back from the snowy north and join us peasants on the G.R.O.W show today. Hello, brother.
Good morning, sir. I just got done shoveling about 38 inches of snow in Connecticut to get here. So, yeah, nice, really, really nice to be here. Didn't know if I was going to be able to make it, and yet here we are. Welcome to G.R.O.W, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Honored that you are here. We have an amazing show today. It's not every day or every even week that we get this level of talent and experience, and yet very level-headed and got his heart in the right place. So you buckle up because we have an amazing show and we're excited to get going. Coach Kyle, can we start the intro on this human being, please?
Yeah, man, let's go ahead and do that. One of the things Marcus tells me all the time and has told you guys before is that I'm good at connecting with people. Well, I got to tell you, this next guest connected with me first. I got out connected, but I did notice this guy on a big all group call for Maps coaches. I was like, that dude's putting out the vibe. I like this guy's nest right here. And then he reached out and I was like, yes. But also I was like, dang, he reached out before me. I like him even more now. He's on to something here. And here's the thing, guys, success leaves clues. So as we got to connect, and then I hear his story and I hear his businesses, I'm like, no wonder, man. No wonder you have this habit. You have this innate ability to go reach out to people. It shows up in the massive businesses that you've built. And one of the cool things that I've learned, and like you said, very level-headed, is this person stays grounded in what's actually important in life. What are the relationships? What are the moments between moments that actually make life worth living? And so, guys, I'm super excited to share this guy with you. Maps coach, team integrity owner, expansionista, or the male version of that, whatever that word, expansionist, if you will, guys. All around bro, dad, right? Maps coach, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chase and Delper Dang.
Woo! There he is. There he is.
That might have been the most
Love
impressive
it.
one I've ever
And
had.
just like that, the suspense is just sitting there and
Yeah.
building and building as we watch the circle just happen. Kyle, when y'all first connected and you were talking to Chase about business and life, and the big thing that he said, the first thing that he said about talking on here, because it's an open script for our guest.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the personal life. Let's talk about fatherhood a little bit. Let's talk about that come up as you're building a business, and he's got some cool stories in regards to with Gary and everything. Chase, your internet is back with us, so you are live, my friend. We can see you now. How are you, bud?
I was here the whole time in my camera, so it was perfect. Yeah, great intro, Kyle. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. Of course. If you don't mind, buddy, tell everybody. We obviously get the resume and the titles now. Give us a quick 60 seconds of the journey, and then we'll jump into what you wanted to cover today.
Yeah, so 30,000 foot level, third generation of the real estate industry. My grandpa owned a brokerage in San Diego. My dad was president of title companies, San Diego and Tucson. My first job was in the basement of a title company at like 15, filing like microfilm. I knew one thing: I wanted nothing to do with the real estate industry. I told people my former life, I was a pastor, worked in churches for 15 years, and got my real estate license because God bless my three kids. They got my teeth gene, and they were going to need braces. And when you work in nonprofits, they're usually non-profitable. So I literally got my license in 2014 to sell one home a year to buy braces for the kids. And fast forward, became CEO of Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, and then got in business with Team Integrity back in 2018. Owned that with my business partner, Jenny, now, who's absolutely a rock star and phenomenal. And have an insurance company, and then Maps coaching and K.W. trainer and Kid Uber.
Kid Uber. There it is, man. So no big deal, guys. No big deal. Just some scrub off the street. We coaxed in here with McDonald's to come hang out with us.
Last year we closed just under 500 units and across locations, and we have like under 5% attrition on our team. People come on our team and stay, and usually what happens when you follow the career visioning process and you hire slow and you vet over a long period of time, The system works. Go figure.
Shocker, right? What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very crazy, but it actually does.
almost every time a leader tells me about a problem or that they hired wrong, my question is always, did you follow career visioning? And it's like, well, some of it or most of it. I'm like,
go figure.
It's like if only there was a book written to show me exactly what
And you
to do and how to
you
do
keep
it.
and you keep it around on your desk all the time.
Yeah, you actually study and not read once, right?
Yep.
Thanks,
man.
man. I love to hear you started in microfilm. That was my first ever job as well.
I still can't. I don't have feeling in my fingertips from all the cuts. So
You guys are old. I'm just going to say it for my younger listeners out there. These are some old chaps. Well, we don't even know what microfilm is. I read about it in storybooks and fairy tales, but that's
they're basically ninja stars.
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, it's last year was 10 years in the industry, and it's been. Gary talks about you marry anywhere you want in 5 years, and I look at like last year was like paying in taxes what my salary was 10 years ago. My income.
Cool, man.
Like that type of stuff. And again, it's what money, it's the good you can do with it. And all money does is magnify. If you're a jerk with no money, you're a bigger jerk with it. It's just what you can do with it.
Yeah, man. I it's funny because like just very resonating with a lot of the stuff, and just the when God winks, guys, you got to listen. This morning I was having some multiple experiences in the dad front, and I was even later going to write just a brain dump little soliloquy on this, so it's great that we get to talk about it. My son is 6 years old, and so I was doing his hair, getting ready for school, and I was just being a dad, like, buddy, one day you're going to be doing all this without me, and do your hair all by yourself. And he was like, I think I'm ready today. And I was like, no. Why did we say this? Like, take it back. And then like 20 minutes later, they're getting on the bus, and I always sit there and wait for them and, wave sometimes. And they didn't wave today. And I was thinking to myself, one day they're not going to wave. One day you're going to pick your kid up for the last time. Right. And so like, what are we going to do to maximize every moment, because we don't know when it's the last day you stop doing their hair, tying their shoes, stop being the first person that they call, stop being the one they want to hang out with. Right. And so it's just very interesting that whenever we ask of all the business things that you could talk about, you're like, man, let's talk about parenting today.
Heck yeah. Well, you can always go make more money. You can't get time back in like those relationships. Gary said back in November to me, he said, if you chase your kids when you're younger, they'll chase you when they're older.
Oh,
and that is, I took that to heart, and that was like a tear-jerking moment. And it was like, I'm going to relentlessly pursue my kids right now with the time that I have control over them, and say yes, and do whatever it takes so that when they're older, they chase me. That's it. It's what it's about.
It's interesting you say that. So like, you're not a busy guy at all, right? 1,700 businesses, massive real estate business, and yet you're still, and there's a quote, and I think it's Brian Tracy who says this, there's not enough time to get everything done, but there is enough time to get the most important things done.
Yeah.
So you have all the excuses in the world to not be chasing after your kids. I've got X, Y, Z, a fire here, a recruit here, got to do this. And yet you're still making it a priority, and somehow by stroke of magic, finding the time to be able to do it, man.
Yeah. I heard a long time ago that there's no such thing as time management, because you can't manage time. It's going to go whether you want to or not. But there's priority management.
Nice.
And that's something that there is enough time. And you do look at a meeting with Gary for 45 minutes, my business partner, Monday. And it was just so shocking how cool, calm, and collected he was. And one of the things someone else said about him was his job description ends at like 11.
Yeah.
And then after that, he gets to do what he wants to do. And I know that 10 years from now, my youngest will be 21. And I'll have all the disposable time in the world at that point, when they're out. And so now, like, you just suck it up and you get up earlier and you stay up later and you make the time. It just is what it is. Like, how bad do you want it? And if I don't think it's that hard. And again, if you run stuff by the model, yes, you will be busy, but when you hire great people, that also provides tremendous amount of leverage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a lot of irons in the fire, but it's not extremely difficult to love your kids.
I love how you kind of segued in there. A lot of people associate busy with unorganized, not knowing what to do, not having enough time to do it. That's not really technically the definition of busy. If you've got the systems and models, you can be busy and extremely productive and still going down the right course. So, this busy thing, I think we default to. Are you really busy, or do you not have your priorities in line? Are you really busy, or are you unorganized to the point where it's causing chaos in your life? Right? Because obviously, I mean, you asked Gary in a meeting, I believe it was, give a little advice on being a parent as you're building these big businesses. What was your biggest takeaway as both you've lived it and you're hearing mentors like Gary pour into you?
Yeah, that's where that comment came from, was if you chase your kids when they're younger, they'll chase them when you're older. And something else he said was that it was amazing how many weddings he was invited to of his friends, or of his kids' friends, as they got older. And it was like an aha. I was like, that's a leading indicator of influence you had in their lives. And then he said it was even more shocking listening to best man speeches and plugging in stories about Gary's house, or Gary did this, we did this. So, that's very important. Like, how are you, like we do at our house, I bought the house of my dreams a couple years ago. It's got, it's not uncommon for us to have 50, 60 people over. And like, even with the kids' friends, like my kids will say, hey, these kids are coming over. I go, okay, what do they like to eat? Like, what snacks do they want to? So it's important that we're not only influencing our kids, but the kids that are around them. And that helps them create a good circle, and even a good circle of trust with them.
It's interesting, right? Because my grandpa used to say this, and I see it everywhere. He says everything is analogous, right? And so you guys, what you're hearing Chase say is how he's been a good dad and how he's been a good leader inside of his family. Do you think that it's shown up in his business world with his clients, with the people on his teams, right? He has a 5% turnover rate. 5% people are leaving the team. That is so small in this industry and in any industry. Chase, man, are you seeing that show up? Like, are you walking the same way in both worlds? And like, what are some things that you do maybe at home and maybe in business to kind of follow that model and be that leader?
Yeah, first of all, I own, Ben Kinney said a long time ago, I own 100% of nothing. Yeah. So I own the real estate team with my business partner, Jenny. I'm the loud idiot that has to take stuff back that I say, and she's methodical, amazing. Insurance she owns that with us, as well as my buddy Jeff. And so it's not just me by any means.
Sure.
It's Jenny is phenomenal. The best business partner you can have is real estate industry. She says all the time, we lead how we parent. And that's it for us. If you can identify how our leadership style, it's servant leadership. And I will say some of that seems like we're at surface level, seems like we're playing in the 80% a lot. Is it the highest and best use of our time, ROI, the stuff we do? No. Is it the best way we can lead? Yes. So we might be spending some time in our 80% doing stuff that it's not necessarily business related or dollar producing activities. And it also keeps our people around. So we're not spending time hiring and replacing either. Right. It's not uncommon for us to go watch one of our agents' kids because they're in a pinch and they need to go do something, or they'll drop them off here and we'll keep them in the office. We have snacks and a TV in our room. So we do that stuff a lot. We hang out with our kids. I can't tell you how many times agents on our team have picked up my daughter from school, or the boys, or this or that. It's a true family. And when we parent, when we lead how we parent, when you have a bad week, a bad month, or you make a mistake, it's not like you're off the team anymore. We don't do that with our kids.
Yeah.
And we also have standards, right? Standard at our house is, it's an unspoken, is you don't come to the table shirtless, right? And for a 14, 11-year-old boy, that's hard sometimes. Mm-hmm. But we also have standards on the team too. Like, it's not us being mean or leading aggressively. It's like, hey, this is our standard. And everybody's cool with it when you realize that it's for the good. So servant leadership is key.
Especially when it's, show up to the closing with your shirt on.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
He said table, not closing table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dinner table.
It's no rules at the closing table. Yeah, just get there. I heard you speaking about standards, holding people accountable, and being in your 80% sometimes. I dare say, I don't know if you can always qualify that stuff at 80%, because early on you stayed in your 20 to the point where those pillars have so much momentum, right? Yeah. So if anybody's out there, if you are, Chase 5 years ago and they're starting this build, don't hear this and be like, all right, I'm going to do that now. You've got to build those systems and models first. Chase is as you were coming up, obviously you get busy in the workplace. You've got the home life, and Gary does this wonderful visual aid in the one thing where it's back and forth and counterbalancing, right?
Balance is bunk.
There we go. So when you find yourself inevitably, right, or in the past maybe, where you were leaning a little bit pretty hardcore into work, what are the things that kind of wake you up here, or some best practices to kind of ebb back into family mode?
Yeah. Missing stuff, right? Like, that is, if I'm in town, I'm going to be at it.
Okay.
It just is. And there is, it's okay to be out of balance. Just don't stay there too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
There's personal times, like this 2024, there was a lot of personal time that I spent, and I was in that area for a long time, and still a little bit. And 2 years ago, I was way in the business side. I just got up earlier. I didn't miss a practice. I didn't miss a game. I still stayed committed. I just had to get up earlier. So, it's having that intrinsic drive and self-accountability of, am I going to miss not doing this in 5-10 years? Like, what stuff can wait, what stuff can't, and the person. One of the things that Gary's talked a lot about is, has this person or this thing, whatever, have they earned your time? And it's not a selfish thing, but when I look at an agent that's not doing what they need to do, right? They're not self-accountable. They're not showing up the way they need to. And they ask for my time that conflicts with time with my kids. It is very easy to go, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. I'll spend time with my kids.
Yeah.
Mostly, like, there might be times where an agent that needs help with something or whatnot, that has immense buy-in and is awesome and is selfless as a whole too. Like, sometimes we need to go, hey, and that's where you communicate with your kids, though. You don't just not show up. You explain the reason why. Mm-hmm. That's where I think a lot of parents fail, is we avoid deep conversations with our kids because we don't think that they're ready or mature enough to have them, which is the biggest mistake you can ever do. The conversations that I have with my kids, I believe are deep and life, and they may not comprehend all of it, but we're still having I'm not going to not have those conversations with them. They are way more mature and smart than I was at that age.
I think another thing is, if you speak to them maturely, speak to them with intelligence, that's going to be their natural language, right? Yeah. So even if they're not as mature or as grown up as maybe you were hoping they would in that first conversation. Stick with it, because they're going to grow a lot faster depending on how you speak to them.
Yeah. If there was something I would have taken, I would have recognized earlier, and now I understand it extremely clearly, is parents, stop freaking trying to make your kids like you. Not like you like your friend, but like you as a person.
Yeah.
They are their own unique, beautiful creation from God, right? Like, just because your personality is a certain way does not mean they need to be like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Once you give into that and realize that they are beautifully and uniquely made, and they do not need to be like you, because there might be areas where you suck and you don't want them to be like you.
Sure.
Like, get past that and pour into them to be the most amazing version that they were created to be.
Yeah, it's okay for them to be different, and it's okay that they're great. They can be great and different. I heard it said such a great way. One time at a conference, I was listening to a guy on wealth, and he was all about setting up trust and family protection and stuff generationally. And he was talking to the CEOs, and he was like, listen, guys, the problem is, and it's just what you said, he was like, so many of you are going to seek to make your kids follow in your footsteps or be just like you. He said, some may, most won't.
Yeah.
They don't have your talents. They don't have your skills. They don't have your personality. They don't have your likes, your dislikes, your focuses. Stop trying to make them be this mold. And this is why we set up trusts and all those things. I was like, man, spot on.
I've got 3 kids. My daughter's 16. My boys are 14 and 11. My daughter's a perfect mixture of my wife and I. Mm-hmm. My middle boy is the complete opposite of me in a lot of personality in most ways. He's almost as tall as I am, or taller. And then my youngest, fun fact, I was born on my dad's birthday, and my youngest was born on our birthday. So all 3 of us had the same birthday. Cool. Yeah. That's so my youngest is me to a T. Sanders will run something later in life. It might be a cell block or it might be a business. We're not sure yet. It'll be one of those two. But I can coach Sanders. Mm-hmm. He has this weird switch that the moment we step on the football field, he calls me coach. Never asked him to, never said to. When we step off the field, it's dad. He just does it. My middle boy, we butt heads personality wise, and we did when we were younger. And I tried to force that to coach him and everything else. And I realized when he was probably that 10 or 11, the worst thing I can do is be his coach. I'm going to be the loudest one in the stands cheering for him. And I'm going to be there for every game, every practice. And I'm going to scream my head off him and at him in a great way. And he is much better off to be coached by other people. Yeah. Once I realized that, our relationship changed for the better. So some of the greatest things you can do is allow somebody else to step into your kid's life to fill the shoes that you don't need to be filling.
Making the stank face because it's so good, Chase. It's so good. It's
humbling, but it's what's best for them.
It's humbling, but it's also, what is the word? It's being self-aware. Yeah. Right? Like, hey, this person over here in our life runs this play so well, and my kid listens to every word and hangs on to every word. Let's go. This is a great influence. Let me bring that in. It's easy to say. It's not always easy to execute because of maybe pride, maybe a little ego, maybe a little.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like as a dad, I'm like, nobody else is going to teach my kids something. Like, that's my role. That's my job. But what's the best for them? And what's the best for our relationship? I could sign up and still coach him every day and have quiet rides home in the truck, and he not like the sport he's playing or whatnot. My role for sports with him is to cheer him on and decompress on the drive home and say, how'd you guys do? Where do you think you do better? Where do you think you kick butt?
Yeah. Most kids quit on the car ride home.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is, again, going back to how we parent, is Jenny and I are completely different personalities, disc profiles, everything. And she connects better with certain agents on our team, and I connect better with certain agents on our team. And there's no like jealousy or anything like that. Like, Jenny, you do you with them. Like, that is your personality match, and we're going to run this like how we parent. and we're going to love them and have the right person speak into their life.
I don't even know what to do with my hands. This is really good stuff, man. And it's like, again, everything's analogous. We get to go out and talk and coach and train around the nation. And sometimes, we'll have OPs and TLs come up to us and be like, dude, I told them the same thing every day for the past 60 days. But when you said it, they all took notes and thought it was awesome. I'm like, hey, man, don't fret. A lot of times the outside expert trumps the inside expert with the same message. Guys, same thing with parenting. Sometimes you need the outside expert. We
had that yesterday. I took my boys to the dentist and we're driving there. I said, Sanders, you brushed your teeth this morning? And he said, no. And I go, when was the last time you brushed your teeth, dude? And he's like, it's been like 3 days. And I'm like pulling my hair out like, what is going on with you, child? And I go, you're going to have like 9 cavities, bud. And I go, you have to brush your teeth twice a day. Let's do it. And we get there, no cavities. And she's like, hey, you really need to brush, especially at night, because that's, and he goes, okay, I'll start doing that. And I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
And then because he's my personality and he's a smart ass a little bit, like we're driving home, he goes, it's because I drink a lot of water, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, you crack the code. You drink water, you don't need to brush your teeth, and you don't have cavities. Like I said, he will run something.
This is somewhat reminiscent of so many conversations I get to have with Kyle. So I feel you, Troy. I feel you, man. Hey, brother, this has been great. We love these like fireside type chats where it's about parenting. It's about bigger things than just business. Chase, if you could leave everybody with some final thoughts, a motto, a slogan, a quote, anything that's important to you, resonate with you, what you got for us?
Yeah, I'll give you 2. One is just kind of a life motto to live by is I'm just one beggar showing other beggars where to find food. And then my big why, which drives everything, is to lead and influence others such that they could live a life and leave a legacy bigger than they ever dreamed of. And that's what gets me out of bed every morning to do what I do.
Come on, man. Knowing where he's going and most importantly, knowing why he's going there. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, why I like the bromance brewing with Chase Delperdang here. Awesome guy, awesome dad, awesome business leader with an awesome partner. Shout out, Jenny. You're awesome too. Guys, if you want to find more of Chase, you can find him on the interwebs, the Facebooks, as a MAPS coach. And more importantly, if you're going to family reunion, you can find him Thursday teaching the golden handoff. Is that right?
Yep. And then Wednesday teaching around lead flow and lead conversion.
Lead flow and lead conversion, guys.
Jenny's teaching as well. So look up Jenny Adams on the family reunion app as well.
Perfect, man. Chase, thanks again. And we will see you in Vegas, my friend.
See you guys soon.
See y'all.